Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Not Another Isekai. I'm Tyler, and today we got a special episode. Finally, this season is ending. I mean, not that's a bad thing. The season was a pretty good season so far. We still have a couple more weeks of that. Finishing a lot of stuff up, though. Most shows have their. Actually, when this comes out, I'll have finished a bunch of shows, and only a few more left, really. But it's coming to an end, and that's always exciting, not only because we see the ending to a lot of these shows, right? But also, we know that there's a beginning to a next season. So, last season, I guess this season, I did a winter 2023 preview, and now I'm going to do it for spring as well. We got a little spring 2023 preview. Doing a little differently though. Last time, I think I went through pretty much every show that's coming out, and I kind of was like yay or nay on each one. Um, Not gonna do that this time because it's just I don't know, it's just worthless. Especially because there's so many shows that are clearly a no, and I have nothing to say. So I instead went through this a little early, and I picked through all the ones that are a yay for me, and I'm gonna purely talk about those instead of talking about shows that I have no interest in, because that's not fun or cool. So instead, we're gonna spend a little bit more time on each of the shows that are good, and I do plan on watching. Obviously, like always, this could change. Certain shows could get dropped, certain shows get added. But this is how I'm feeling right now, right on the tail end of winter 2023. So let's just start then, huh? So first up, these are in no particular order. I mean, I guess these are in the order that my anime list puts them, and I think that's in popularity, so like number of members. So that's just the order that I picked them in because that's what they have them in. First, we got Demon Slayer, the Swordsmith Village arc, otherwise known as Season 3 of Demon Slayer. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like, I know there are a lot of people out there that have gripes about the Demon Slayer show. They say it's overrated, overhyped, all that good stuff. But I love it. Like the animation is incredible. I know that's like the one thing that I think everyone agrees on is that Ufotable just went just absolutely filthy with the animation. So I mean, I love that big animation, like tech side of things. Big fan of that on my end. So I love that, but the story's cool too. The characters are cool. I like the sort of like flow that they have with the show so far, where it does seem like every season they're like focusing on different members of the ooh, what's the name of those people called, like Hashira or something. All like the legendary, they're like a little exclusive club of the best swordsmith demon slayers there are. So it seems like every season they're kind of focusing on a couple different ones, because they did that last season, right, with like the nighttime district arc or whatever it was. Um, I thought that was really cool, and so this time I guess they're doing it again with these two characters here. Um, the pink and green haired girl, which I know people love, and then the blue haired guy that's super like quiet to himself, sort of thing. Sort of has like the water stuff similar to what Tanjiro does. So again, I don't really know. They don't even have a synopsis here, which is just says here's the arc. So that's cool. But yeah, yeah, excited to watch it because even last season, like we saw a bunch of cool stuff, and especially what's her name? Should be right here. Why is she not one of the first characters listed? The sister Nezuko, right? Nezuko, where she like got like crazy. She started like fight. She started like use her powers a little bit. She's still not in full control of them, to my knowledge. She started to go a little crazy with it. But yeah, that was really cool. And then did the guy die? Did the Demon Slayer guy die at the end? I mean, we did have the train arc where our like fired guy, he died, right? Which was really sad. But the other guy, the guy with like the headband, he didn't die though, right? He lived. Yeah. Okay, but then also they're good at like weaving in the story of like, well, we're still trying to find that one dude, Muzan right here. We're still, we're still trying to find him, and still trying to get Nezuko. Oh, she's right here. I didn't recognize her. It's a weird picture of her. Um, just trying to get Nezuko to be a human. I imagine I haven't read the manga. I feel like at some point it's gonna be like, oh, we've Nezuko has figured out how to be a demon and a human at the same time, and she's okay with it. She loves it or whatever. I imagine that's like, how like shonens go. I could totally see the shonen being like, oh no, she loves it. She doesn't talk though, which is weird. I mean, I know she's young. I wonder if we'll ever see that. If like she'll grow up and be like, oh, I'm a person now. I use my words. Mitsuri and Muichiro. Those are the two people's names. Gotcha. Okay, but yeah, I'm excited for this. I mean, I think everyone is. This is, again, the most, the most added show this season. Um, it's gonna be a banger, right? Clearly. So let's see. Next, we got Doctor Stone: A New World. This is season 2, season 3, right? Yeah, because the last one was the Stone Wars, right? New World. Yeah, so I did recently watch the OVA that came out before this. Because I never watched. I mean, OVAs for me, unless it's a show that I'm like super super into, I don't usually catch the OVAs in time. Well, even that's not true. There are some shows that are like my favorite shows of all time that still have OVAs that I haven't watched yet. I just keep putting them off. Probably because when the OVA is over, then usually that means the show's over. Especially for some of my favorite shows that are not getting another season. But yeah, I do remember that, and they were doing like currency, like they introduced cash money into the world, and it's like, oh no, this is the end of mankind right here, because money and currency, I feel like that is a poison. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed the first couple seasons of this show. I don't think it's like the best show ever, but I think as long as it keeps knowing what it is, like, I don't know, it is just like it's just like a dumb isekai. Well, sort of, it's isekai in spirit. It's not actually an isekai. They didn't really get transferred, sent to another world. They're still on the same world, the same earth. But it is like isekai in spirit, right? Because what was it, like 1,000 years or something that they were in the stone for before Senku woke up. But it just looks like a dumb isekai that has like science in it. I don't know how accurate the science is. I mean, I did pretty well in like science subjects in school, but I don't know how accurate this is and how I'm imagining not fully, but maybe. And it is just like a collectathon, like those old Nintendo 64 games where it's just like, yeah, our game is just you jump around and you jump on enemies and then you collect a million different types of coins and puzzle pieces and stickers and all that stuff, and then that's how you beat the game. And so that's kind of what Dr. Stone is, where it's like, yeah, I don't really know what their overall like goal is. I suppose just like revive civilization. But then we did have some weird stuff with like the moon and everything, and I was like, there's some space stuff here. That's strange. But yeah, again, like I don't really think, aside from the very obvious, like just grand, the most grand goal you could possibly have, which is we're just gonna restart Earth. I don't really think it needs to be more than that. I think it just needs to be fun and have like dumb, like quirky moments. Getting introduced to new characters. Slight levels of conflict. Again, I don't think they really need anything crazy for it. I don't know that we're really gonna have, because we did the Stone Wars, but that wasn't like, it wasn't like war. It wasn't like thousands dead. you know, Children have lost their parents. Like it wasn't anything like too crazy. It was just like these two people who disagreed with each other's methods, and so they were trying to vie for all the different resources. Which on a small scale is obviously a war, but like it wasn't like bloodshed, right? And so I don't think they really need to do anything like that. I think it is just, I don't know, I just have fun watching them create things, and be like, ooh, okay, we need a plane. What are we gonna do to get a plane? Okay, here's all the steps to get a plane, and here's all the fun little moments that happen leading up to it. And yeah, that's really all it has to be. Again, I don't know. A new world that sort of assumes that they are really gonna crack it wide open. Because it did just like master. They mastered so many things like phones. They really got going crazy. Um, like sea travel, right? Um, almost like GPS. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, so I imagine this season's gonna be very grand in scale. Where like the first season was more just like discovering things. We're here now. What do we do? And the second season was like, okay, we have some disagreements. We have to sort of clear all of that so that we can all be in one mind, or at least for the most part, one mind, one goal. And so now this season, I feel like, just with the new world subtitle, it's like, okay, now we're really cooking. So that's gonna be cool. Next, we got, okay, this is a fun one. We got Tonikawa Over the Moon for You season 2. So far, just sequels, because that's what people are excited for, right? Sequels and stuff. This is a fun one because I actually just recently, so there were a few shows here, and I think this is really the only one that super made the list. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll get to it. But this is one where I saw this show for the because I was like perusing, because every so often there's multiple times throughout a season where I will peruse the upcoming season of anime, right? Just kind of keep checking and see what's coming, because obviously I have some stuff right up here, right in the old mind vault. But sometimes I don't see things, or I just want to see what people are excited for. And so this is a show that is one of the most anticipated shows of the season, according to my anime list, which is not the end all be all, but it is, somewhat of a barometer for, for people's interest. And Tonikawa Over the Moon, I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool. I was like, it's getting a lot of members. A lot of people are clicking add to this show. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, it's like a, it's like a rom-com, right? I was like, okay, rom-coms, into those, right? Those can be a good time. And then I clicked on the first season and I remembered, oh yeah, I haven't seen the show, but I remember when the first season came out. I remember like reading about it and I was like, it doesn't really seem like a show for me. It just seems kind of generic. I don't really know that I'd like it. And so I never watched it. And it got a pretty good score. I think it got like a 7.9 or something, or 7.8, something like that, which is pretty good. And so I saw this season coming up and I was like, oh, got a second season. People must really like it. So I finally was like, okay, let's watch the first season. If you dig it, you dig it. We're going to do season 2. If you don't, then forget about it. And I binged it all in like 2 days, I think. I think I watched like the first like 7 episodes in one day, and then the other 6, or what would that be? 5 episodes the other day. Yeah, it was really good. Again, like it wasn't like the best rom-com I've ever seen, but it was one where I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of get like, it had like a cool, interesting opening where it was, and this is, I guess, slight spoilers for season 1. I guess I've kind of spoiled stuff already about the other shows, but if I'm talking about the next season, I feel like you should know. Stuff might be spoiled. The first episode of the first season of this show, the whole premise is that like the dude is like super focused, or no. Oh, everything just left my brain. He's kind of just by himself. He doesn't really have. No, that's not true. I don't really know how to describe it. It's so what basically happens is that he has his own goals in life, right? And then out of nowhere he sees a girl, just randomly. He's just on the street. He sees a girl, and it like crashes his whole plans. Like again, like he has his whole life planned out, like what job he wants to get, like what university he's gonna go to, what job he wants to get, how he's gonna make money, all that stuff. He basically just has everything planned out from what I remember. And then out of nowhere he sees this girl just on the street, whatever, and like everything leaves his brain, and he's like, I need to be with this girl. and then he runs over to her, and then a truck, good old truck coon, uh, almost kills him, right? And he gets saved by her, and then he still doesn't want to go to the hospital because he's just like captivated by her and her beauty and whatever, her aura, her energy, all that stuff. And there's like a weird like sequence of events there with like not want to go to the hospital, and then her dragging him there, and then her leaving, and then he's still not well again. It like minutes have passed, and then he runs back out to her, and he wants to be her girl. He wants to be her boyfriend. And then because at the moment you're like, this is kind of cringe. Like, I don't know, I don't know if I want to keep watching this, but it kind of takes a turn when she agrees. She says yes, and then she says, "I'll agree to be your girlfriend if you marry me." Which is like, what does that mean? Like, marry you right now? Like, you mean like let's be together and live a life and get married eventually? Like, are you joshing me? And then he immediately says yes because he's, I don't know, a weirdo. And then he never sees her again for a while, for like months, I think. Something like that. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know exactly how much time it was, but it was enough time for when I think one of them turned like 16 or 18 or whatever, whatever the age is to be an adult, I guess. And then she just showed up at her door at his doorstep and was like, "Hey, you haven't forgotten, right?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "We're getting married." Like, and so that's I don't want to spoil the whole show. I mean that's all in the first episode, but that is kind of what happens there, and it was like an interesting premise where it's like, okay, then they just meet randomly, never seen each other before, never talked to each other before, and they agree to get married. And the whole time he's like, "There's no way this is real." She's like way out of my league. But like you find out that they do really like each other, and it's like, okay, and then just kind of like, you get more like the calm aspects of it, where it's like, what weird situations they're gonna put each other in, where they're married but they've never even like held hands before, like they literally just met, and so like it's like the like it, it's like forming a relationship but backwards. It's like, okay, we're gonna get married and then I guess that happens with like arranged marriages, right? I suppose. But like this is just two people agreeing to get married, and then okay, now we're gonna learn more about each other. It's very strange, but it is nice. And it is very like wholesome too. And some nice some comedic moments in there, especially with his parents. Is pretty funny. Um, and even with her life too, like her situation is kind of funky as well. Especially for like, why would she just randomly agree to marry somebody? That's like a big topic of debate between both of them, where you're like, why would you agree to marry me? And she's like, why would you agree to marry me? Like, you can't just put this on me. Like the same reason you did. So, but anyway, season 2, very promising. I'm excited to see what else happens. And just really, like I said, these are these type of shows where I don't really know what the end goal is. I don't really think there needs to be one though. Like, I just want to watch more of these two together and having a good time, Next is the first non-sequel we're talking about today. The first of many. There's only a couple more sequels left to really talk about. Hell's Paradise. Jigo Kuroku. Yeah, I have to actually read this one because this isn't a sequel. So we got a ninja in a village, cold and emotionless. But he was set up by a fellow ninja and is now on death row. Tired of killing and betrayal, he wants to die. However, no method of execution works on him because, as much as the seemingly apathetic man refuses to admit it, he does have a reason to live. He wants to return to his wife, who was the reason why he softened up and failed to be an effective assassin. Thus, he refuses to die. And there's this decapitator dude, famous executioner. He sees this and has a proposal for the ninja. He wants him to join an expedition to an island south of Japan in search of the elixir of life in exchange for a full pardon by the shogunate. However, the island is not a normal island. It's believed to be paradise. However, the island's full of mysteries, and the exploring team, consisting of those marked for death, might not be fully prepared to handle them. That's interesting. Okay, I now remember why I wanted to watch this. That's really cool. I mean, first off, I'm not really showing the videos because that's just a whole other thing. Please go watch all the promotional videos because I did. I don't know if other people do that too, but I always watch promotional videos for the shows I'm excited about because when you want to see the quality animation, right? But then also some of the characters in action, that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, anyway, I remember this one. The animation looked pretty cool, but also just that premise is cool. Like they're all on this, again, like island that's supposed to be paradise, but then there's like weird mysteries there, and everyone there is I mean, again, consisting of those marked for death. It's like, so it seems like everyone, the whole like search crew is full of people that either were going to die, either like be killed, like maybe they are like a criminal and they were put on death row, and now they're like, hey, instead of, it's kind of like the Suicide Squad. It's like, hey, instead of being in prison your whole life, why don't you do this thing and we can shave some time off? Again, I don't know if that's the deal here, but that's kind of what makes me think of it. Or people who just had nothing else in life and were going to take their own life. And it's like, okay, well, why don't you do this? Maybe find a new purpose, right? So it is like, again, in exchange for a full pardon. So again, it is, well, no, okay, I guess I just left that from my brain. That is very much like the Suicide Squad, where it's like, hey, you all are criminals, so do this instead for us. Yeah. So yeah, we're watching Suicide Squad the anime, but hopefully better than the movie. And yeah, that just sounds cool. Like, I'm interested to see what the mysteries are. Why is it called Paradise? Is it gonna be like, what are the genres for this? Gore and historical. Okay. Action fantasy. So I wonder if we're gonna see any what's the word I'm looking for? Any like weird like spiritual stuff or like monsters or something like that. Ghosts, ghouls. But yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah. Also just, seeing a cool little historical like samurai. They all got swords and stuff, so I think at least like the vibes and the atmosphere of the show will be fun. Next, another sequel. This one I'm really excited for, guys. We got Konosuba, an explosion of this wonderful world. Not season 3, I believe, of Konosuba, which is also in development, which has also been announced for this year, I believe. I don't, it hasn't been confirmed when it's coming out, but I'm pretty sure it's for this year. Yeah, so this is all of this little spin-off with Megumin and Yunyun. Couldn't be happier. Megumin is my favorite character in Konosuba. She's great, right? I mean, Konosuba in general is just that show that is really, I feel like, the pioneer to a lot of shows. I don't know that it's really like the first show to be an isekai, or the first show to be, hey, let's have an isekai, or just a show where all the characters are kind of terrible, but you love it anyway. But it is to me that it is a show that to me is one of, if not the best, at bringing all those elements together. And I was reminded of this because season 1 and 2 watched forever ago, right? Very much wanting more of the show. It was always kind of like rumored and talked about, but didn't happen until recently. And so what I forgot was I never watched the movie, the Konosuba movie. And I was like, okay, I should probably watch this movie, right? And I think there was an OVA that I didn't watch either, so I watched both of those. And I just got reminded why I love Konosuba, because it is just nonsense. It is just dumb fun between all these characters. And then there are moments where you do genuinely feel for the characters. Like, I think it was in the movie where they were, where they like went back to their place for a little bit, or like Megumin's place or something. And we did have some like touching moments between, what's the main character's name? Oh, he's not in this show, so that's not going to help me. Isn't like Cuzco or something, like Cusco from Emperor's New Groove. So Cusco, between him and Megumi, we had some really touching moments where it's like, oh, they're kind of like understanding each other, and then it devolves into some weird like fan service stuff, and it's funny, right? But yeah, I'm so excited for this. Especially like I said, Megumin's my favorite. So Megumin and Union, and kind of being a spin-off kind of series that's focusing on them, which is cool because like magic is dope. So seeing that, I don't think this is. Oh yeah, this is a prequel, right? Yeah, because it is. They still have a lot to learn. They begun learning advanced magic, but Megumin's going down a different path of explosion magic. Yeah. So this is a prequel, which is cool because again, I'm pretty sure it was the movie where we saw a little bit of this. Where we saw a little bit of their old school, some of their old classmates. So that I don't know if that was intentional for like setting up a sequel like this, or if it was just a happy accident where they were like, hey, why don't we make a Megumin and Union spinoff? We already kind of have some little like trails in the movie to set it up. So yeah, good stuff there. I'm excited. Couldn't be more excited. Can't wait for it. When does it air? April 6th. Super close. Next, this is honestly probably the show that I am most anticipating. I mean, because so far, right, we talked about Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer's, we know it's gonna be a banger. Again, if you like Demon Slayer so far, I imagine you're gonna like season 3. Doctor Stone, again, if you look, with all these sequels, it's like I'm not afraid of their quality dipping. Like I'm not afraid of this season of Demon Slayer being somehow way worse than what it's been so far. Same thing with Doctor Stone, right? Um, and then even the whole like the Megumin spinoff, I'm like, if it's just more Konosuba, perfect. That's all I need. That's all I want. Um, and then the whole Hell's Paradise, I don't really know anything about. Like I didn't read the manga or anything like that. It's not a sequel. But this one, I did read the manga for. It's still ongoing. I'm not caught up in it, but I'm sure I've read past what this initial season is going to be. This first 11 episodes. Oshinoko. Is there a? I don't think there's an English title for this. I mean, I'm sure that translates. Oh yeah, my star. I just call it Oshinoko because that's just what the manga always was. I don't think I ever saw it translated to My Star, but Oshinoko. Okay, Oshinoko. I'm not gonna spoil anything, so don't worry about that. It's such an interesting. Okay, so I'm just reading the synopsis to see what I'm allowed to spoil because I feel like anything in the synopsis I'm allowed to talk about. Okay. I mean, the synopsis kind of spoils some stuff to me. I mean, even though it'd be spoiling like the first episode, probably of the show. I don't know. So I don't know. I guess I'm not really gonna say too much because maybe you're not gonna read the synopsis, and then maybe you want to be surprised by how this show starts. But it is so the setup of the show, the very base setup is there is a see, I don't even want to say that. I don't want to say anything about the show. How about that? In this episode of a spring preview 2023, where I'm supposed to be talking about the show, I don't want to talk about it because I am very excited for this. And if you put your hand over the synopsis, like you don't read it and you just want to come in blind, please do. Because this is a show to me. I'm just going to talk about my feelings, I guess, for the manga. It is something that in the very beginning, when I was first reading it, I was like, okay, look, I don't really know. Like the first, I don't know, however many chapters, whatever. I was like, okay, it just kind of looks like whatever. I don't know what's so special about this. And then what I will say is this is technically an isekai. I would say it's more an isekai than Doctor Stone is. Not probably like a full, like true isekai, but it is more of an isekai than Doctor Stone is, if that, you want to throw that little tease out there. And when the isekai happens, I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, that kind of changes everything. Like, not only the fact that the main character got isekai is crazy, who they are after the isekai is ridiculous. And then that happens, you're like, oh, this is the show. Gotcha. Okay. I know what the show is. This is interesting now. This is fun. Can't wait to watch the rest of it. And then another crazy moment happens that you would never have expected. And you're like, oh no, this is the show. They tricked us. They thought that the Isekai was going to be the moment that dictated everything. And in fact, it was not. And then from there, again, there are some very fun times. There are some very sad times. But it is cool. And it is really, unfortunately, the closest thing we'll ever get to getting a... what's that one manga that was definitely going to be adapted? Oh, I don't remember it. It was in Shonen Jump. I'm gonna look it up. Real quick. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm running my anime list like an idiot. Okay, because there's one show that was incredible, and Act Age. That's what it was. Act Age. Everyone, go read Act Age if you read manga, because it's never gonna get an anime adaptation, unfortunately, because Act Age was a manga. So my friend Raymond, probably mentioned his name before. He's the one that kind of got me into manga, and he usually is the one, like 95% of the manga I read are per his recommendation, because he's the manga guy. And Act Age was one of them, and this was incredible, right? It was a whole manga about acting, and like to me, I was like, that sounds boring. I don't care about the art of acting, like what, boring, right? But you read it and you're like, this is captivating. This is so interesting, and like the way the character approaches acting, and then like the way other characters that they meet approach acting, and like how they steel sharpen steel, and like the performances, like incredible. Unfortunately, and this is my own theory along with other people's as well, the manga ended when I believe there's probably like 2 main arcs left, and it's like, so sad. And the reason it ended was because the author, not the artist is incredible, and I think that she found more work, which she should. She deserves it, because she did incredible work in Act Age. But the author, unfortunately, did some bad stuff, some really, really like vile things, and was dropped by Shonen Jump, and no one is gonna work with them ever again, I imagine. But it sucks because like, Act Age was this manga that was like, it was a breakthrough. Like, it was a huge success for Shonen Jump, which is crazy because normally Shonen Jump is like 90% like battle shonen. You got like One Piece, or you got Demon Slayer, or My Hero, and so to have Act Age come up, it's like, oh, this is something different that people are really liking, and it does add variety, and it does show that you don't just have to make Black Clover, or a show like that. Not hating on Black Clover, but just like, again, like another like battle type shonen. It doesn't have to be that to be successful. And I think, I don't know if one was announced, but I'm pretty sure there was at least rumors and maybe some leaks about a anime adaptation of Act Age, and like the hype could not be greater for this. And then the author went and did what he did, or at least it came out what he did in the past, and it was like, ooh, you monster. I hate it. So anyway, my whole tangent, the whole point of that was that this is the closest we'll ever get to an Act Age adaptation, and you'll know what I mean when you watch it or read it, I suppose. So very excited for that. Next is Mashal. Mashal, Magic and Muscles. Mashal. Okay, I suppose that makes sense. So this was one, let's see. To everyone else in a magic-dominated world, we have a powerless Mash who's a threat to the gene pool and must be purged. He lives secretly in the forest, and he basically just like trains his body physically, right? He doesn't have magic, but he's trying to train his body to fight magic with just his pure athleticism, his pure physical prowess. Um, and then he wants to become a divine visionary, role so powerful that that they would have no choice to accept him. And so he enrolls in a magic academy, and this magic academy is super elite people. And so he's already at a disadvantage. And yeah, so he just has to overcome everything through pure willpower, pure physical strength, and skill. So yeah, this one to me, it reminded me of just like Rock Lee, the anime, because like Rock Lee from Naruto, that's like his whole thing is that he can't use or he's not good at all at ninjutsu or genjutsu, so he just uses taijutsu, which is just like physical fighting, right? So he doesn't use like the weird like chakra magic or whatever. So I was like, oh, it's like Rock Lee the show. But then, I kind of watched the promotional videos and this whole synopsis. It looks like it could be interesting. I don't know that it'll be amazing. I don't know. I mean, again, I could very well drop this, but to me, I was like, I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of see like what that, it's like classic shonen protagonist, right? Either the protagonist is super overpowered or they're super underpowered and they have to get good, right? So I think that's kind of what this show is doing. And, looks fun. Looks like it could be fun. It looks like, it does look like there's some like comedic elements in this as well. So that'll be nice to kind of offset the whole like, path that this main character's taken, that MASH has taken. Yeah, it just looks like it could be fun. An interesting cast of characters. And just to see how he overcomes each of these trials through trying to become this divine visionary. So yeah, looks like it could be fun. Next, we have Ranking of Kings, The Treasure Chest of Courage, which is like season 2, I imagine. This is one that I have not as much as I'd like to say about it because I actually haven't. I don't think I've actually finished Ranking of Kings yet. I'm close. I'm over halfway, I believe, of the first season, the only part that's out. I've finished it though, so I can't speak too much on this because some crazy stuff might happen in the other episodes I still have. That could be leading to the Treasure Chest of Courage. But I will say, I will definitely finish it before this season. Yeah, and then just the first season in general. Like, if you haven't watched Ranking of Kings, please do. It's a show that I skipped initially because I was like, this looks kind of boring and I don't really know, but like the more you watch it, the more you're like, oh, these characters are incredible. The kind of journey that this guy, what was his name again, Boji goes through is so good. And again, just like the way he has to like level up in the show, and I don't know, it's just such a feel good show, I don't know, I don't really know what to say about it. You just watch it and you're like, yeah. You're rooting for Boji. He, everyone around him always comes around and is like, you know what, Boji, you're a good guy. He comes from people being like, he could never be king to, hey, maybe he could be king. Maybe he could do it. So yeah, I'm excited to watch this. Next, we have Loving Yamada at level 999. Don't remember this one. Let's read. So after her boyfriend cheats on her with another girl he met in game, Akane learns the hard way that gamer boyfriends can be just as bad as the offline variety. As she vents her anger by beating mob monsters to a pulp, she has a chance encounter with Akito Yamada, a guildmate with an afro and no mask. Yamada is unsociable and curt, hardly the type of person to make Akane swoon. However, while his gaming stats might be maxed out, Yamada is inexperienced in matters of the heart, and against all odds, she finds herself moved by him. Making new friends along the way, can Akane shake the heart of Yamada, a final boss level high school boy? Okay, so we have Akane's. Okay, so that sucks. First of all, her boyfriend cheating on her. That's awful. That's terrible. With another girl he met in game. That's just some weird like gamer like gamer drama. But then she meets someone in game she meets Yamada in game, who is just seems super unapproachable. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's just like two people who met in game. They're gamers, level 999 gamers, and she starts to fall for him in game. But it'd be interesting because I mean, both of them are on the cover of this. I have seen shows like this before. You know, it's not like a super uncommon trope to have like people meet in a game. I mean, obviously there's Isekai who that do that, but there's also just regular shows. I have seen a couple of them in particular that I thought were pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested in the show again. You know, romance, love me some romance anime. But also, yeah, like she's kind of hurting a little bit, but then she meets this dude in game, just like her ex-boyfriend did, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm kind of digging it a little bit. So, um, and he's like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's very classic, like, character types, right? But yeah, it just seems fun. It seems like a good time. Be interested to see how they maneuver their, and also like, will Yamada like her back? Like maybe not. So I mean, I imagine it's an anime. He's gonna like her back. That's just how it goes. But it'd be cool to see the journey. You know. Next we have okay. All right. We got I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too. So this one, okay. Because to me, and I think I mentioned this before, where it's like the whole name of the show, not another isekai. Um, it's a play off of isekai. Have gotten more and more popular over the years, and it seems like every season is just flooded with them. And it's like, at some point, if you watch one isekai, you've watched 90% of them. Because most of them are just the same, and they change a little thing here that doesn't really make it any different, and you're like, why did I watch this? This was a waste of time. But there are, every so often, there is one or two that come out and they do something different enough that's very good quality. Chef's kiss. And you're like, oh, this was a good quality isekai anime. Doesn't happen very often. But this one to me had an interesting premise. So, okay, so it's a chance to come back. A mysterious door stands open, inviting a boy who's been brutally bullied his whole life to take a courageous step forward into the unknown. On the other side, he finds a horde of priceless artifacts in a world as filled with magic as it's with its monsters. The most shocking revelation, however, is that he can bring whatever he wants back with him when he returns to Earth. It won't be long before his double life changes him forever. ... This one was interesting to me because I feel like that's not really played around with too much with isekais, that they can go back and forth. Because to me, that that's what it reads here, is that they can just find stuff and then bring stuff back and then go back and dimension hop. And so that's what kind of has me interested in. Again, I don't know if it'll be able to keep that up the whole show. I don't know if it'll be interesting. Again, that doesn't really tell me anything about like the characters or what the show is actually going to be. But a show where they get isekai and become overpowered, very common thing. But then they're like, oh, I can bring it back to Earth. I can bring it back to my home planet. That's where the little extra bit of spice comes in, and it's like, okay, you have my interest. Let's see where this goes, though. This could be, excuse me, this could be a isekai that stays, that sticks with the whole duration of the season. We'll see, though. Next we have Insomniacs After School. This one was cool. I mean, because this one to me just seems like this nice little slice of life, like character focused show. So we have. It all started with the death of one of the astronomy club's members. From this, the rumored ghost of the club came to life. Grumpy insomniac Ganta Nakami stumbles across the moderately rebellious yet easygoing Iseki Magari in the astronomy club's abandoned observatory. Magari is jolted awake and tries to escape from the scene, only to have a broken door prevent that, forcing the two inside. The two forge an unlikely friendship, leading them to use the observatory as a safe space for them to interact. Insomniacs After School follows the Insomniacs Nakami and Maguri's time in the Starlit Observatory as they help each other cope with the insomnia and the lasting effects it has on student life. Yeah, so this to me I feel like could be the dark horse of the season. I feel like every season has, one or two dark horses that like doesn't really like initially doesn't get a whole lot of hype, but then by the end of it you're like this was like a top 5, top 3 show for me this season. And for me, I feel like this could be it because I love the whole like I love slice of life. I know some people slice of life can be very boring, but to me it's like just like depicting real life in a way like this is it can be very, very interesting and very, very powerful. So just like again a trance encounter. I don't know, is this tagged with romance? It is. The genre is romance. Okay, so that part to me is almost secondary. Where I'm like, them getting trapped, like even the whole ghost thing. I'm like, them getting trapped in an observatory and them having to like help each other cope with some sort of like trauma, insomnia, all that stuff is like that right there is like sign me up. I want to watch this. I want to see where this goes. I want to see how they help each other. I want to see how they spill their life to each other. Um, I want to see this so bad. I really hope it's good because if it's bad, I'm gonna be so upset. It's just like, oh, like, you know, how can you not be interested in something like this? Like again, like I'm not trying to say like, oh, I don't want to watch, stuff like Demon Slayer all the time. Like, no, Demon Slayer is great, but this to me, this to me can be, have some like emotional impact where you're watching it and you're like, you're so invested in these characters and their lives and their like perspective and all that stuff. So that's why I really want to see this. Next, we got a few more. The Dangers in My Heart. I don't remember this at all, so let's see what this is. Uh, Kiyotaro Ichikawa may look like your average middle school student, but in his heart, he dreams of murder. Oh yeah, he dreams of murder. Thus, it is no surprise that the one he wants to kill the most is never far off his mind, the class idol, Ana Yamada. Another Yamada. Reading alone in his beloved school library, he inadvertently begins to rendezvous with Yamada, who comes to secretly gorge on her beloved candies and sweets. Through their interactions, Ichikawa discovers just how much of a ditz Yamada is and can't help but support her from the sidelines. Meanwhile, Yamada herself can't help but tease Ichikawa relentlessly due to his flustered reactions. With an array of heartwarming daily interactions, the distant bond between the two grows into something much more than just library acquaintances. Perhaps in time, Ichikawa will come to realize that his murderous desires have turned into something else entirely. So what's that called? It's like yandere, I think, is the like murder love trope in anime. I don't know if that's really what they're going for here, or if it's just like yandere adjacent. Like, oh, they're not quite that, but they kind of are. I mean, that in itself just kind of got me interested. Where it's like he dreams of murder. I'm just like, oh, what does this mean? And then he wants to kill her specifically. So it's like, again, I wonder if that is the all like yandere stuff of like, is he just a murderer, or is it like that trope? In anime where it's like he actually secretly loves her so much he wants to kill her, I guess. And then it also has a little sprinkle of another type of show that's becoming a genre at this point. There's not, and again, it's not close to Isekai, where Isekai was just like a thing that happens in anime and then eventually became like a genre of anime. It's not quite that close, but it is, there's this like type of anime, like this lens of anime where, one character teases another character. They just have their own like little slice of life type things. We have one of my favorite shows of the winter season that unfortunately got delayed, but it is coming back very soon. Is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. That's a show where the girl character teases the boy character. There is a extra thing to it where the boy character is invisible to pretty much everyone. Not like literally invisible like a ghost, but close. And so there's that little extra spice there. So yeah. I mean, there are other shows that are kind of doing this sort of setup where it's like, oh, they're in school and one of them teases the other one, and it turns out, it turns into love or whatever. So just have that in it too, which I do like, especially with the, given the different slice of life moments that can happen, and just seeing a lot of their reactions is funny, right? So yeah, this looks cool. Next we have A Galaxy Next Door. So, ever since their father died, Ichiro Kuga has struggled to support his two younger siblings on nothing but a small inheritance and his passion for drawing manga, but it's become harder to keep up with his growing responsibilities and deadlines, especially after his last two assistants quit to follow their dreams. Just as he's nearing his breaking point, the beautiful and scarily competent Shiori Goshiki applies to become his new assistant. But there's something more almost otherworldly about Goshiki, and soon Kuga finds his reality turned upside down when she suddenly declares them engaged to marry. Yeah, so that in itself just sounds fun. Like, it's like, okay, kind of a struggling artist, wants to draw manga, all that stuff. Trying to support his two siblings, that's very heartwarming. And then out of nowhere, he gets this new assistant that seems otherworldly. So, like, I don't know if there is going to be some weird fantasy magic elements to this. But then out of nowhere, she's like, we're engaged. It's so funny to me. It's like, it's like almost like the whole Tonikawa stuff, where it's like, we're going to marry. Oh, there is a supernatural element to it. Okay, so yeah, maybe. I wonder what that's going to be. And I wonder why, like, why did she come here in the first place? Did she target him to be married, to marry him? Is there an ulterior motive here? What's the supernatural element in all of this? Um, but also just like the cool slice of life aspect. Like I said, him take care of his siblings is like, that's so nice. I'm sure we're gonna have some very nice, very cute moments there with the younger siblings. So yeah, looks cool. Next we have My Home Hero. Tetsuo Tozu, an ordinary salaryman, discovers his daughter Reika has been physically abused by her boyfriend Matsuri Nobuto. Trying to learn more about him, Tetsuo uncovers Matsuri's scheme to extort money from Reika's wealthy grandparents and finds out that he is a member of a crime syndicate with a history of murdering his former girlfriends. Terrible. That's awful. Filled with rage and fear at the thought of Reika being in danger, Tetsuo ends up killing. Oh, I remember this. Okay. Tetsuo ends up killing Nobuto, and with the help of his wife Kasen, successfully dispose of the body. Now, as the members of the syndicate begin to question Nobuto's sudden disappearance, Tetsuo and Kasen must work together to ensure the safety of their daughter and prevent her from getting involved in the predicament any further. This, to me, felt like John Wick, where it was just like, okay, so again, not the same exact thing, but there's that kind of energy where it's like, okay, he's like, okay, I'm gonna save my daughter from this dude who apparently murders all of his girlfriends, and he's also part of some crime syndicate. So I'm gonna save him. So I'm gonna go John Wick, and I'm going to kill him. Apparently, my wife is here too, and we're gonna kill him, dispose of the body. And now it seems like the crime syndicate might be after me. So now I have to. So is he gonna go crazy? Is he gonna start killing more people? Or is this not really like John Wick necessarily, where it is like, I'm an assassin, I'm gonna leave a trail of blood in my wake? Is this not really that end, and is it more of like running and more of like outmaneuvering the crime syndicate? So it just seems really cool to me, like this like mystery criminal type aspect to the show. Um, Again, a little bit of John Wickness sprinkled in there, so it just sounds fun, drama, suspense. Ooh, give me all of it. Can't wait for this. And then lastly, a sequel. Didn't never think a sequel would be this low, but I guess it didn't really do a good job at marketing. But this is a show that we covered on this podcast, I'm pretty sure, right? Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury Season 2. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? Like, y'all know how much I love the show. This was one of, if not my favorite shows that aired that season. Again, it's I forget where it ended. Let me read the synopsis a little bit. So, this is 2 weeks after that incident. Right, yeah, because there was like a big final battle at the end, but then they were like, retreat, right? And Celeste spends her days at school looking forward to seeing Miorine again. Miorine, on the other hand, is at the headquarters of the Benerit group, monitoring her father's condition. Oh, right, because... Okay, hold on. I have something to talk about, but let's just see. So the two girls are faced with new difficulties and decisions that must be made. With their own feelings in their hearts, the girls confront the powerful curse brought about them by the Gundam. Okay, whatever. Right, because there was a crazy end part where Miorine and her dad got ambushed by a dude with a gun because his whole thing was he had to, I forget who that was, but he was going to kill the dad, right? That was the whole goal, and he would have killed Miorine to get there, right? And then it was like, oh no, this is bad. And then Suletta came out of nowhere with her Gundam and just like squished the dude, blood everywhere. And Miorine was just like, no, like she was terrified. She was like shocked, doesn't even begin to describe it. And so that was like, ooh, is there like a rift in their relationship now? Like they're gonna have to have a discussion about this. I don't think they did, right? Wasn't that like the end of the episode, like the end of the season, like that happened, and then it was like done, like cut, all cliffhanger, wasn't that what happened? Um, anyway, yeah, I mean, I love the show. I love their relationship. I love all the different characters we've grown to meet and learn about. And yeah, I just love to see a continuation. What happens on every character. What happens on Suletta's end with her still being Gundam, all that stuff. Miorine's end with the father not doing well. She got to take over the company. All that stuff. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to see more of this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the anime season. Like I said, this obviously not every show this season. Looks like there's 74 shows. They're filtered a little bit. Anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of shows. Obviously, I covered 15. All the ones I mentioned, there's 15 in total. That's a pretty solid season. Again, this is not a written in stone. As always, there might be a few shows that end up dropping within the first few weeks. Maybe a show here or there that I pick up if it turns out to be a banger and I just didn't know that it was gonna be. But yeah, that's all the shows that I'm pretty much gonna start watching for the winter season or the spring season. Yeah, if even like a good majority of those 15 shows are good, this is going to be another great season of anime. So let me know what you thought of the season so far, or not the season, but just like what the season's looking to be, upcoming. Let me know what some of your most anticipated shows are. Are there ones that I didn't mention that I definitely should be watching? Let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I'm gonna finish. Again, this episode will come out after the episode this week that would have just aired on Monday. So I finished up many shows. And yeah, good stuff. That's it. Until next time, watch more anime.